Says HaShulchan, you're there, similar base, same sign to Yud. This is day 168 of the Supplemental HaShulchan Yomi series. Zayin, Kasvu Aram Batur Shulchan the Turn Shulchan Chai V'chein Al Pi Shlois Svachim B'pnim, even if the spinal cord did not get soft on the inside. It was Shu'av V'kabed, it's thick and heavy. V'im Ma'amidim Oso Ein Yochel Amom Nei Kovdo. But if you try and stand it up straight, it can't stand on account of its heaviness. Treifa, Akal Shama, it's treif. Kasvu Shel Savik Treifa. They mean that's a Savik Treifa. V'chein Kasav Rambam Zal Sham. And the Rambam writes that way. Neshu Zo Baya B'Gemara Shalom Leim Shlo. There's an inquiry in the Gemara which is not resolved. But Tuv Shulchan Lo Chashuv Doctor says Tuv Shulchan we're not meticulous in right. That's a suffix. Neshu Ikadin in Afghan because in the primary law there is no ramification. Bezeh and whether it's a suffix or batay. Kedarka Mekamas as is their approach in some places I guess not to write suffix if it doesn't really matter. And the question is if the primary reason why the spinal cord is treif, if it became soft and dissolved, is on account that it cannot be able to stand. Or it's because the actual softness and the dissolution in and of itself. That which we link it to the fact that the cord can't stand is just a sign that it's soft and dissolved. The kosher symptoms any time reaches this sign, this level of instability, it's obviously ruined. The next success Yisrael can't kosher. Actually, it's really a new thing, but so that's the question. And now he says if a little bit of the marrow is missing and it's emptied out, it's kosher. If a lot is missing, in a manner which the empty part, which is outside the sand, would droop. Treifa, it's treif, that's the shach. The spinal cord emerges from the brain and goes throughout the spine, and the tail, until the very end of the tail. The power of the spinal cord is that it can affect the animal and cause it to be treifa. And if it counts its severance, it's not until the end of the tail, but at the end of the place where the splits occur. To the place where it branches out and goes into side branches. In the beginning, where it starts branching out, that corresponds to the hips. One side goes out to this hip, and the other goes to the other hip. And the middle section goes down to the tail. Both the two finger breaths below those splits. Splits out again into three. And below them it splits out again. In numerous places add so far till the end of the tail. If the spinal cord gets severed from the brain until between the splits, a place the majority of it is split, is severed, it is treifa. Even if it's not the but if it's severed below the area of the splits, these are the power of the spine has become diminished. There, it's not the spinal cord, which is the spinal column, which is sustaining the spine. The hips sustain the spine at that point. The animal will not die on account of the cord being severed there. Therefore, if the cord is severed in that area, the animal's kosher. Test. The part of the spinal cord which goes straight between the splits, and the mikra bein haproshos is called the area bein haproshos, between the splits. And the cord with between the two splits at the beginning, when they go in each direction, the part is called the opening of the split. And the cords in the splits themselves are called the parshas. They're called the splits. Because of the Torah writes, Anytime, any place where the cord is severed at pitzul shlishi up to the third split is treifa. Mishomel share beyond that's kosher. Being usak negative over that pitzul shel parsha shlishis, it became split corresponding to the thickness of the third split. So pia parsha, which is the pia parsha, the opening of the split. Kasa Rashba, the Rashba writes, Yerushu treifa zin zeh treifa. Yesh matir those who permit it. Being usak echad b'shnei chutei apitzulim harishonim, zeh prashos. If two of the branches which branched off in the first split are severed, treifa, and if chutei pitzol shlishi, but if the splits in the third split were severed, share its kosher. And quote for the Rashba, Vida, you should know. So I guess when I read I read it in a moment it was wrong. I said I read the transfer wrong. When it says he means if in the first two segments of the first two branches off, it's split in either of them. It's straight, but those branches are split straight. But in the third branch off, those branches are split. It's still kosher. So Tzichas has numerous pictures of various different angles of trying to get this, and they're all very different. Here you have. One Bena Precious, second Bena Precious, third Bena Precious. So we're going to the side angle. 1, 2, 3. So the Rashi seems to say that the first and second, the one that's a question, first is definitely true. Third is definitely kosher. Second says, I don't know. So Rashi was saying right now we're machmir on the first two, right? Not on the third. So the so he says at P parsha rishona. So that's what he says that the definite treifa is only up to the P parsha rishona. Beyond that, pain pios are proshos, whether it's the openings of the splits, pain parshas on the splits themselves, or the major spinal cord. Having treifas means suffix, it's a doubtful treifa. It's the Rashba. And there's a bias in the right. Don't get into that distinction, as we said a few minutes ago. The bracket says, they always, these, what's compelled to say there's all subject because there are questions in the Gemara increase. And even though there are those lomar, which usually means we pass like the first ones, and then we have question latter ones. Ad going on till the end. People going to happy kipshitos according to the principles of the Gonim. It's as if the first ones are resolved. Papa says there evidently some language which indicates that it's not. I guess you have to go inside the Sugi of the Gemara to understand why Papa's language in Dimsoma negates the assumption that the previous Dimsomas are tantamount to resolutions. You have a session of Zeshkas of the Torah, Ashlisi Shesh Matiro, that the Torah wrote in the third one that those minutes of that's Rambam Shah. We see love cook, don't nechasha tip, Davish Gemara, Nisha Basafik. So evidently the Gemara itself remains in a doubt. So we'll ask how can you permit this thing which the Gemara itself leaves as unresolved. Leaves out spin altogether. And the great Acharim go make efforts to resolve his words. In the brackets it says, look at the Shach, the Yam Shlema, and that the Pri Chodesh argues on them, and the Aruch HaShulchan will try his hand tomorrow, a resolution of the Rambam. But that is all, I believe, for today. Just check that up quickly. I'm pretty sure about that. Yes.